Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. So I hope you guys are doing very well, and in today's video we're going to be testing out the BeautyBay's Smoky palette. So just a quick little thing, I did pre-film the video but it didn't record my audio, so today I've had to re-film it and do another look. This is a look that I did do before. It's obviously going to be quite similar to this look because if you haven't seen the palette already, I will show you guys in a moment. There's quite for me like a limitation on my skills and what I can do, but yeah, I just was so annoyed, but today I was actually able to have a chance to film again, so here we are. But yeah, this is the Smoky palette and I have been super excited to try this because when Beauty Bay are always leaking out their new palettes, I am all over them. I really love Beauty Bay. I think their palettes are really great quality. I need to try a lot more of their other stuff. I have tried some of their lipsticks and I've tried some of their blushes and bronzers and highlighters and stuff. They were fantastic, but when it comes to the eyeshadow palettes, I really think that they are on another level essentially. So yeah, this is the Smoky palette. I actually picked up the 16 pan one. You can get a 9 pan, 16 and the 43 pan palette, I believe, which is absolutely massive. I've had a couple of those in the past, and for me, I feel like they're a bit too big. Like, I don't think I would be able to use all of those shades, and so that's why I decided to go with the 16 pan. This one itself was £14. I believe you can get the 9 pan palette for, I can't remember. I'll put up some prices and pictures and blah blah blah, and I'm pretty sure for the 43 pan one it's like £27, which price wise is amazing. If you've got space to put these palettes somewhere, that's amazing. I personally don't. My crate where I have all my palettes just cannot handle it, but yeah, this is the palette itself. So this is essentially a gorgeous smoky grey tone, a couple of blacks, a couple of silvers palette. And in the beginning I was a bit kind of hesitant because I was like, how many looks can I actually do with this style of palette? But the thing is, there's so many different things that you can do, and I feel like with the look that I've done and the previous look that I've done, you can make something really glamorous and really kind of outstanding. And so I wanted to show you guys how I did this look, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so now let's test out the palette itself. So I'm going to test out mostly some of the matte shades because I do want to obviously use a shimmer as kind of the end, like POW point, if you want to say. So I'm going to start off with Mountain just here. So that is a nice grey tone. Well, grey, the whole palette is grey basically, but I'm going to use it to kind of just map out the top part of my crease, and I'm not going to go too heavy because I want to try and use as many shades as I can, because obviously this palette has quite a few matte shades that I do want to test out again. So I'm just going to blend this in. Okay, so as you can see, that first shade has gone on super duper nicely. I want to now go in with shadow just here. So I want that to be like inside the crease as well to make it a bit more deeper. So I am going to add a wing shade afterwards, but I want to kind of build up on the lid first. So as the first shade Mountain was slightly lighter than this one, I'll still want that one to pop. So I want this one just to be a bit more deeper, like a bit more depth, if that makes any sense. So I'm just putting that into the crease. I'm not putting on too much because I don't want to lose essentially the first shade, because it's still quite a nice kind of light tone grey. There's another grey which is called Clouds, which is this light one. I'm thinking of maybe putting some of that on the top because I feel like that might be great to kind of lighten up at the top as well. I might just use a small brush to do that because it is a really nice kind of light grey, and if you want to kind of lighten up slightly, you can just use it to blend it out. So I'm just using that shade Clouds on the top, and it's kind of like for under the brow bone as well, because I like to add a bit of shimmer under the brow bone sometimes, but with this I thought I'd put a bit of a lighter tone just so all of the shades are coming outward. Next I'm going to go in with one of the deeper shades because I want to kind of line out the where my sellotape is. So I'm going to go in with Tuxedo. So essentially you can go in with Tattoo as well, but that's just a solid black, but I feel like Tuxedo is a kind of one slight shade less than a black, if that makes sense. I don't want to go in too heavy because these shades are so pigmented, and I just want to, like I mentioned, just make the corners just like to make it look like a wing essentially, so you don't have to add liner afterwards. You can just kind of use the shadow to kind of blend everything in. I've mentioned this so many times before, but I don't, my eyes are like, this side is much smaller than the other. So I find it really annoying that this has kind of got a lot more space and this has got less space. So I feel like when I'm adding shadow, I have to kind of minimize how much I have on this side because this lid is so much more bigger. But let's go on to, let's see if we can just go in with a shimmer now, because I want to add something at the bottom. And last time I did use my finger because I felt like it works so much better. So I'm actually going to try a different shade today because I felt like last time I used Nightclub. So I actually want to probably use Sword today because that actually looks like more of a like a shimmery grey. I know I'm saying the word grey a lot because the whole palette is grey, but when you think about some of the others, they have a slight kind of deeper tone to them, where this is just like pure silver, I believe. So I'm kind of going to add this in and not make it kind of too heavy. Okay, lovely. So I'm going to add an inner corner shade now, and I feel like going in with Palace just here. So this is kind of, well, it's a another shimmer, but it looks a bit kind of duochromy. So let's just put this on. I'm going to make it a bit more than I normally would, just to make it a bit more popping. And this shadow is super soft, so I kind of moved around the embossing slightly. So if you use small brushes, sometimes it will be moving things about, but it's such a stunning shade. So this is kind of the look that I'm going for. I'm just gonna kind of blend in a couple more just to make it a bit more full, because I feel like I've missed out some bits. I don't know how that's happened, but I'm just going to go back in with Mountain and Shadow together, and I'm just going to slightly just fill in any of the gaps that I've weirdly missed. I don't know how I've missed that, but I'm just trying to get as much as my lid just full of this grey shadow. Okay, I think that's kind of it for the eyeshadow itself. I'm just going to take off my sellotape to see what it looks like. Lovely. So now I'm just going to go back to kind of future me, giving you guys my final thoughts. Okay, yes, so this is essentially my finished look with everything else done, as you saw right at the beginning. And to be honest, my review is going to be super positive, like I have done with pretty much all of my Beauty Bay palettes. I always say that their shimmers are the ones that are essentially like the life of the party, and I still believe that absolutely. I mean, the shimmer that I've added here and on my inner corner are absolutely stunning. I feel like I did use, obviously with the first shimmer, I did use my finger because I feel like with the heat of your finger and using a brush, sometimes it doesn't catch everything that you want, and especially the application. Like I do use the Decay Primer to kind of give things a bit more of an oomph sometimes, but it's more for the longevity for like my personal opinion. But I always feel like all palettes for me do need it, and that's no kind of shade to any brand or even Beauty Bay. Like even using their matte shades, they can sometimes be a little bit patchy, but I feel like with this palette you could still get a really nice payoff. And as you guys saw, I used about 4 or 5 shades, and even though this is like a £16 palette, you do get like 2 rows of shimmers and like an extra one. But I feel like with all the mattes, and if you want to do like a really nice smoky kind of evening look, this palette is like perfect for that. And even for something that's not in the nighttime, or if it's something kind of like an afternoon thing, you're not really going to maybe use this palette during the summer, but during like the autumn and the winter and stuff, it's absolutely perfect. I mean, good timing on bringing it out, even though we are coming into the spring. But I feel like this palette is gorgeous, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. I don't feel the need personally to have gotten the big one, because I've mentioned before, like I feel like sometimes the shades can be quite repetitive. I feel like some of the shades are quite similar in the sense of like some of the big P. Louise palettes, like those some of those shades are literally like the next like tiny like shade next down, and I just can't deal with it, especially with the size of the palette. I feel like it's maybe too much, but the 16 pound ones are always one that I go for, unless they're the standalone palette where you don't have a choice of three. I feel like 16 is perfect, and especially for 14 pounds it is amazing. I really hope they don't change their prices anytime soon, because they know how good their quality is, we know how good it is, and yeah, I just really enjoy this palette, and I hope I'll be using it in more future videos. Let me know if you've picked up this palette, if you liked it, if you felt like it was a bit boring, you're not going to pick it up. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, because I film and upload every time I get a chance to. Don't forget to follow me on any of my social medias, because I'm always active on there, and appreciate you sitting down, listen to me ramble on, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.